Hello, it's Jessica Amala Dawn. I'm back. It's been a while. I have been doing some really deep work on myself, and it's been a very powerful time. I'm sure that you all have been feeling it as we passed through the recent lunar eclipse that was on November 30th. And you know, I've really needed to take the time. And because there's been some massive clearing that I've been undergoing, that I'm still undergoing actually to a certain extent, that I'm still finishing up, of this whole, all these, we'll just say anything that falls under the umbrella of spell work, of which would include, my past history with like hair pulling and trichotillomania, which definitely is tied into like spell work on my energy system and on my chakras. And there's been a huge healing that's been coming through to really clear all of that out, to clear out the main 7 chakras, almost like kind of biblical, but like, to really bring in like the divine feminine Christ, the Mary Magdalene energies, like being really fully cleared of any devil kind of or spell work influences on my chakras. And it's been really intense, and some of you might be feeling like you've been going through something similar yourself. There's been a lot of clearing on the lower chakras, especially on the sacral chakra and on the womb, or some people call it the womb chakra. And I've been doing, I had to do a lot of exercises for that. I had to really slow down. I find personally that womb work, to really get into deep womb work and deep heart work, because they're the most powerful places in a woman's body, they do require the most attention, like in order to fully heal, because they also are the most complex and have the most capacity to create and manifest. So to really get to these deeper levels of healing is required a slowdown and cleansing. And I bought a juicer. I've been drinking celery juice in the morning and trying to like eat more simply, put less, additives in my foods, like just eat like things plain to like really cleanse out. It's been good. It's been really good, but I've had to put an immense amount of self-care. I've been working more with essential oils, and I've just been taking like really good care of myself compared to normal, where before I think I was always kind of stuck in this cycle of like ultimately kind of putting the needs of others before myself, and really realizing that wasn't serving me, and that wasn't in the self-loving vibration that I want to be or need to be in order to have the kind of relationship with myself that is going to be supportive of a sacred union, which is really having to rever yourself first as being truly eternal and holy in form, and being fully conscious of that in all ways, at all times, really, and living that and sharing that frequency through, your Holy Grail chalice. That requires a lot of self-love. That requires deep healing of like everything from the past, and like all these imprints of life, of like people who have kind of made sort of like past attachments or past, unresolved karmic contracts or anything like that that's like built up over time on the system. It all is like needing to be cleared out to get back to this like pure state, so that we can truly it's like it has to kind of like come back down to zero. It's like if you're demolishing a building to build a new one, right? Like you can't just leave the rubble around, or you can't just leave part of the building standing up. to build the new one. I mean, if it's a historical building, you can take it down and paste the face back on the new building, which they do in Toronto all the time, which is kind of a joke. I'm saying that as a joke, but it's also kind of true. But you still have to take everything away, and that even what was like left that you're bringing back, right, when you're pasting like the face of like a heritage building on top of a tower, even that, like every single brick gets taken apart, everything gets made shiny and new again, everything gets polished and perfected, and it looks like you've never seen it before when they put the back on like a sticker, right? Because it's all essentially been scrubbed and made new again, regardless of what gets brought in from the old. And that's kind of like what we're going through. Like everything is getting cleared out because we are, activating a whole nother level of DNA, 144 strand DNA, new sacred geometries of the heart, that, I'm getting really clear visuals on. And maybe, I can share more about that as it, makes sense. But these new DNA codes and these new sacred geometries are really going to help us embody like 5, 6, and 70 expressions in our physical form. And at the 70 level, like we were able to fully embody the higher self. And, my higher self is Amala, and I really connected with that 70 self on the Lion's Gate a couple years ago at a portal site that I went to in the Bruce Peninsula. And it just really felt like that was the beginning of the anchoring, and like we've just ever since then been working through. And it's not that I wasn't aware of her before then, but it was really like a big turning point. And some of you may have had experiences like that as well. And if you haven't yet, this upcoming solar eclipse that we're about to have on December 14th, 15th is really going to like eclipse out a whole chapter of your life, so that like this higher self can come more in, that your divine blueprint can enter more deeply into your being and embed into your physical vessel. And it's a very cellular process. I hear that a lot, and I'm hearing it again now. It's happening in your cells, and very specifically, like it happens in your mitochondria, which is a DNA that's passed down from the maternal line. Okay. And I've heard that like a lot of times when I was calling in my DNA clearing, in the past year or two, how the mitochondrial DNA is so specifically important for this. I'm hearing healing and restoration and revolution. And I'm hearing unearthing your spiritual talents and abilities that have been latent and dormant since like the times of Lemuria. And it's like, it's really about unlocking the genetic code and allowing the grace and the divine feminine, the unexpressed grace and divine feminine of this spiritual higher calling to, emanate through yourself. And again, I'm hearing, and it's like it becomes a tangible expression of grace, and purity, and peace in form, which is, that's important. And as I say that, sorry, I'm just like, all of a sudden I'm like channeling now, but I'm seeing like the face of a white tiger, and really looking at me, this white tiger. And the tiger is also an important and powerful symbol of the divine feminine. And it's really about the divine feminine energy really being restored fully into the physical vessel. And so there's like, there's a lot of rest and recuperation that's required right now. And for myself, I can say I've like received very important messages about needing to like take the time out, really take a time out, take a step back from people, try and get, it's starting to get cold, which is unfortunate. It's like kind of getting wintry here, but trying to take some time in nature, spending time with pets, actually, you know, like with my cat, because it's a feline being, and really letting go of, like, you know, as much as I like want to have social interaction with other with other females, like I'm realizing, like, you know, in my neighborhood and stuff, they're just on such a different trajectory right now. And you may find this like with people that are around you as well, but like a lot of people are just you know, diving a lot deeper into alcohol and alcoholism, with everything, you know, going on, to sort of numb out, like, because they don't really understand what's going on, like on a spiritual perspective, with the whole pandemic and like the lockdowns and all that stuff. And, you know, when I talked to some of these moms in moms groups, I was like, oh yeah, like, do you guys like trying to like, you know, do something high vibe? Like they don't even have the capacity to understand. Like, I don't, like, there's no response. It's just like dead air, because there's so many people that are just not aware, you know, for all the people that are aware. And I find sometimes like maybe younger people, like some millennials just in general, because they haven't been so conditioned by like they haven't already had like kids, or in the pressure of the cycle of parenting, or they haven't, you know, had like a professional job yet and gotten like jaded by the world, or whatever the reasons, or, you know, different astrology for different generations also has an impact. But like a lot of people like that are my generation or older are just like not necessarily on board in a more mass way, you know, or at least not in my neighborhood, not in my area. And I'm saying all this because if you're experiencing anything like this, like it's really important to just like see it from a higher perspective and not take it personally. And it has nothing to do with like them being wrong or you being wrong. It's just that like they haven't been unlocked at all, like in their DNA yet, to have, you know, to comprehend like the experience that I'm having or the experience that you're having. And the experiencing that you're having is very important. And, you know, and you're very aware and you're very enlightened in comparison to, you know, a lot of people that are in your environment. You know, there's different degrees of consciousness and, you know, elevation in that, and enlightenment. It's not just like a one-off thing, although there are ecstatic experiences, you know, in the enlightenment process for sure. And you know, like where people have those feelings of being like at one with everything and all of that. And in a sense, you know, but that is kind of where you're being pushed. It's almost like, it's like you need to be okay with people in your environment being in potentially a very different place than where you're at right now, and like allow yourself to go deep into the enlightenment, because your consciousness of coming more and more into oneness with all that is and with your environment, regardless of like what's happening in the human to human interpersonal interaction, is important, you know, because the trees and the animals and the elementals and the fairy realms they don't have that level of ego that's keeping them so separate. So it's actually it's a lot more available to come into like that oneness, and they're almost like asking us, you know, these beings are asking us to kind of like come into more oneness with them right now, to continue on our path of evolution even more, and not to like worry about that gap, not to worry about that divide, but just to allow it and trust your process fully. So gosh, yeah, there's so much. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little pause, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to read some cards. You know, it's might be, I want to do it, you know, like fresh cards for you guys and just see what comes through. We're going to be working with the Light Seers Tarot combined with the Muse Tarot. And then I'm also have some Lemurian Oracle cards, some Archangel Gabriel cards, because I've been working a lot with Archangel Gabriel lately. some magical dimensions cards, which we're calling out. And then I also have the secret languages of light. So all like really, really high vibrational cards to kind of help to like support you with this journey. What I would like to ask you to do before we begin is to stop and to take a few minutes to meditate. I'd like you to grab something that's gonna like really bring you into your center. If you have a favorite essential oil that you can like bring and smell or put in a diffuser, do that. If you can light a candle, do that as well. And even if you want to take a little moment to meditate or reflect in your journal about what you're hoping to get out of this reading, you know, like what questions are you hoping to have answered? And just spirit's just like asking me to like to pull you guys in this deeper sense of like self-care and ritual to make the most out of the experience. So do that, and we will be back, and we'll get into it, and we'll see whatever else wants to, you know, come through as we start getting into the cards. All right. So we are back. I hope that you paused the tape and had a minute to gather your things. I actually ended up gathering something unexpected myself, a special surprise that was very synchronous, and so I'm going to share it with you guys before we continue. When I was meditating earlier today, I was noticing a lot of sacred geometries in my heart really amplifying. A lot of, I'm really seeing the geometric structures of the heart more clearly. I don't know the names yet for some of the structures I'm seeing, but just to kind of give you a bit of a sense, like the center of the heart of this new geometry is not like a normal star tetrahedron. It's sort of like that kind of a shape, which is like a 3D Merkaba, right? But it has more sides, and I don't know how many sides. It's very pointy, and I just don't know what you call it, but it's sort of like that shape, but with more sides at the center. And around it, there's a very multi-sided shape, but I feel like it's the dodecahedron, but like with possibly more sides. Like I don't know the name of it. Again, it could have 144 sides potentially. So maybe when I have a better understanding of like what these very kind of complex geometric shapes I'm seeing in the heart and kind of around, you know, shielding around the heart space I can give you more of an update. But I keep seeing them, and these geometries keep getting clearer and clearer. And what it feels like to me is that they are bringing in that, you know, that immortal flesh, you know, that new heart, really, that is going to allow us to actually have that universal connection we're looking for. And that's really always what the star like Merkaba was always meant to be, like this heart vehicle so that we could travel multidimensionally and connect with other beings through the universe. But the shapes looked a little different. So I'm not, similar, but just slightly more advanced. And so I'm not really sure exactly why, but there's a lot irrespective, of that vein, of that understanding activating in the heart right now. And as this is happening, I'm noticing that some like old memories have been coming up for understanding, for healing, for clearing. And one of the things that came up was this, I saw a flashback of when I was in undergraduate school. And, it was like a picture of when I had done this, we'll just say it was like one of those study trips where the people I had done landscape architecture school with, we had all gone to New York and Boston on a travel trip together. And it was a lot of fun. Like we had a really, really, really good time, like good memories. And I had this, image in my mind of this beautiful picture of like me with a bunch of my friends. And one of them, I was reflecting after on how like I had these really fond memories because he was from this really cool family and his mom is really cool. And she started this program that's like really special, that is used as like a supplementary program in elementary schools, kind of internationally now. It used to be just in Canada, but now they've got like some places in the US have it, and there's other countries that are starting to use this program as well. It's called Roots of Empathy. It's mostly directed towards third and fourth graders. And it's like basically the idea is that you bring babies into the classroom to teach kids about emotional intelligence, and like it's to help reduce bullying and help them to foster like loving connection and being more caring towards others and having more kindness. It's really, really, really lovely. And I did this program with my daughter when she was a baby. She was one of the classroom babies that would go in throughout the year so the kids could learn about her and engage with her. And lo and behold, after I had this memory come up today when we were doing bedtime stories with my daughter, she went to her room to go get something, and she came back with the album that the teacher, there was like a Roots of Empathy teacher that was like came into the classroom to teach the Roots of Empathy curriculum, and like mom and baby, me and my daughter were like the subjects of learning. And yeah, like you can see here, like this is the album 2014 2015. It was for like a 3-4 split class, and these are like the kids in my class. Sorry, I just hit the mic. And it's just like we went over these pictures and I was just like crying, like all these like happy memories. It was so sweet. You could see like her like on this like study mat, and like all the kids like were like loving getting to know her. And like they wrote all these messages at the end about like how much fun they had getting to know her. And it's just like it was really sweet because most of these kids were like more, they were from a bit of a like lower income families. It was a bit more of like a lower income school neighborhood. And there were some kids that were really troubled in that class, which is why I think they made the teacher add this program to the classroom. And I actually saw one of the kids attack another child, a boy, like strangle a girl in the classroom one time, which was really scary. And that same kid, he wrote to Emma at the end, that same kid wrote, "You take care of Emma so well." So in reflecting on that, I was like I cried a whole lot because I realized, he probably, probably not an aggressive person, probably in truth, in his heart of heart, as a little third or fourth grader who would, lash out on another person. He probably just recognized that I took care of Emma so well because maybe that wasn't something he had learned. And that's probably, he probably had not received that kind of care. And maybe that's why he didn't know how to deal with his emotions and why he was lashing out on other people. So, it's like, it's, I don't know, like, I feel like it's things like where we have emotional attachments like this to things from the past that aren't necessarily bad things, but that are like asking for a little bit of revisiting at this time so that any kind of unresolved like emotion around it or maybe unfelt, unfinished emotion about the past, or, because things that we maybe have been clinging on to about our past that we were like things that we treasured are kind of like wanting to be looked at so that we can kind of come to a place of resolution about, about everything that has happened in our lives up until now, the good and the bad, and come to a place of like completion, because we are becoming new. And it's not always just about looking back at the bad things and forgiving them, although that is often what we are doing when we're going through this process of becoming new. It's also about life review in general, and anything that has a strong emotional charge for us is gonna, I think, present at some point to kind of come to some sort of completion and closure. And I will say, this was really beautiful. My daughter was so happy to go through this album with me. Like, I could just tell, like she really feels special that we did this together, and that she got to be this little test baby for all these kids. I mean, she was just like ear to ear smiles. So, and we can work with that, right? It's like, what, I think I mentioned this like earlier on before I stopped the video, about how, like, some things from the past, like the old heritage building facade, gets pasted back onto like the new building, but like everything got scrubbed and made shiny and perfect before it got put back on, so it looked like brand new again. Kind of like that. Like, maybe there's some things from the past that will kind of have similarly that kind of cleansing and being brought into the new in a new way, that as part of the bigger picture of the divine plan of this new that we're creating, want to be presenting it this time. So just, it's a lot of food for thought. And 1202 as I say that, so you can look into your numerology and see if that means anything to you. But very sweet. So, and I just think, there's, in general right now, there's just a lot of like dim. There's a lot of dim. Like I was saying before, a lot of people are just wanting to kind of check out a little, give up on life a little bit right now. It's easier to do that. And some people haven't, maybe been pushed enough yet to really, have a big awakening. There's lots of weight and that's been on the shoulders of, people who have been awakened and who have been, clearing the DNA, clearing the ancestral lines. There's been a lot of pressure and, burdens, like, that 10 of Wands, heavy energy on those people to be carrying a lot of clearing weight for massive collectives of people who haven't been doing that work. And, it's, like I said, it's important not to judge and to just stay of the mind frame that ultimately this new energy that's coming through, and that's like these new geometries that are opening in our hearts and bringing through them like multidimensionality, can't be stopped. The ascension process can't be stopped. And it's like one candle in a room of dark. Like, the room will not be dark no matter how big it is if there's one candle lit, right? So your process, your personal reconnection with multidimensionality through your sacred heart, through your new heart, is very it's, I don't want to, heroic almost brings like ego into it to call it heroic, But it is a bit of a sacred service and a sacred sacrifice that a lot of us have been through to lead and blaze this path. And at this point in the game, to let people, anyone around you that's just being low vibe and being a bit either low vibe, shady, just not caring, not trying, to let any of that affect you at this point, to let any of like the BS you see in the media and like, I'm constantly seeing parents at school who are just like not woke, not getting it. My family is not woke, not getting it. Like, I am not surrounded by anyone in my like personal immediate life that really gets it, except for one neighbor who's awesome, totally like awesome, but that's it. There's nobody else. And that's like a little weighty. And it's just like, and if any of you are experiencing this to some degree or another, we feel like I just have like one or two people that I can talk to and feel normal, and that's it. And it's just starting to bear down because like it just keeps going and going, and and like the media, they just keep pummeling numbers and fear and fear and fear. And it's just like, it's important to take a step back and maybe and I'll look at some of those happy, sane memories and stay focused on, it's important to stay focused on your values, your ultimate goals, what you believe in, and if you have to hermit yourself a little bit to complete your process, so be it. So be it. And I think Spirit is like really kind of saying that a little bit right now. And it's going to also allow any sort of residual healing that might need to happen as well. So it kind of was a short intro at first, which ended up turning into a long intro. But I think from there we can get going. I've already called in God and Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel in for everybody. We'll call in everybody that's here's higher self as well. All of your galactic lineages, your star families, your most benevolent and loving ancestors, and the seraphim angelics that watch over your lineage, and the Lemurian priestesses of light. And we're going to pull some cards. So let's get a Lemurian oracle for the most, for just the most important overall energy for the next, little while. I will just say specifically for this upcoming solar eclipse and the weeks preceding and following that you need to know. Whale teaching, depth of experience and healing, teacher and mentor, and share wisdom. Yeah. my phone is like going off in the background. I don't know how to turn off the auto assistant. It's really weird. Okay. Again, I think it's just like this whole thing about like interference, Oh yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to mention, was that like there's just so much, it's just so blatant, like the control forces have just become so blatant. And I feel like if you're watching this, like part of your job as this whale teacher is to like, and look, there's even got that, I was talking about the Merkaba, and here we've got the Star of David, which is related to that very strongly, right? But I feel like the whale teacher is bringing back the Akashic record, it's bringing back the ancient wisdom, it's bringing back the connection to like the universe and all that is, and it's like it's bringing back the information from the depths, from the broad, from the beyond, from the the far out information that we have not been able to access because of this box, because we haven't had the right geometries in the heart to truly fully access and, be these teachers for full, mentors for others, that, giving people an expanded wisdom besides what they've just been fed and are constantly being fed by, by the government, by the media, by many forces. And, like, it's just so blatant at this point that it almost is shocking. Like, there's this new application that is getting promoted that is been created by a cell phone company for OHIP. OHIP is the Ontario Health Insurance Plan. Okay, that is like free for anyone that lives in Ontario that's like either a permanent resident or a Canadian. And the app is called Babylon. Like, they literally named the app Babylon. And I see other things too, like other ads going around online to like free programs for kids to learn how to do coding and like get them into like that computer program mindset really young. I always thought it was odd, like why kids that are like so young, like 6, 7, 8, like are already learning how to write like computer code. It's very robotic for a child at that age to be doing that. And the course is called White Hats Junior. And there's like this little rocket ship on the logo. And like from my own personal channels that I've received, like, and whether I'm right or wrong, I'm not sure, but it is an interesting coincidence because the intel I received is that NASA is like a total Nazi organization. And I do know that like for sure that there was Nazis in Germany that were protected, that were part of like Hitler's whole regime, that were brought to the US to join NASA. But I didn't, until I got the channeling, I wasn't aware of the depth to which like NASA is a Nazi organization. And it's all tied to like the Anunnaki, and it's very anti it's anti all of this like we'll just say like Israelite, like child of the universe, master creator, Yeshua or Jesus kind of energy. Like, it's totally wanting to completely shut down that direct connection to God, and externalize how we experience and how we connect to the to the universe and to space around us. And white hats, just getting back to the thing, like white hats, come on, like that is KKK. Like that's really, it's just, and Babylon, right? That's just like, it's so obvious that the whole thing about people being sick and making people sick and living in a sick society where people can't heal themselves or don't know how to heal themselves or take care of themselves properly, and where we degenerate and all of that, that's all part of this Babylonian structure. And really, they're just, I feel like they don't hide things because they, on some level, people say, oh, they're so scared. I don't know. I feel like they still kind of feel like they have a lot of control for them to be so tongue in cheek to call the Ontario's health plan app Babylon. I mean, yeah. it's pretty brutal. So we have a big job to do, right? There's a lot of getting people to think deeper about what the frig is really going on that needs to happen here. On the bottom, we've got multiple dimensions, timelines be you. Don't even try to fit in. Right. You know, and then below that, we've got crown chakra, right? So, and right to know, go beyond attachments, divine alignment, right? There's a big crown chakra awakening that is happening as we become creators to our soul star, to our, what I understand is our Shambhala star, and then our stellar gateway. That's just how it's channeled for me. The Shambhala star is like way up, way out there, and it's sort of this new gateway that's kind of open. It's like a personal star that's connected to this grander stellar gateway, is how, you know, that. And this stellar gateway is what really opens you up to the all, to like to Yahweh, to God. And these new activations of all this higher crown stuff, all these higher, you know, external chakras that are coming online more, in addition to the internal ones, is really central to becoming more multidimensional. In addition to like the activation of all the cells and, you know, the chakras in the hands that are becoming more predominant, and like, and, you know, the changes to the chakras that we already kind of are more familiar with, like the third eye, the pineal gland, the heart, and all that. It's like a lot going on. There's a lot of changes to, you know, bring this online. And that's why it's like, don't try and fit in anymore. Like, you can't be worried about fitting in anymore. Like, it's so appropriate that this card came up after my whole spiel about not worrying about fitting in, because it's such a strong message that you need to appreciate right now. In the past, I think it was more okay to be kind of like that, but it's just like there's just this really big push right now to like let that go, because it's not an energy that's serving highest good to hold on to that at this point in the process. So I think this is super, super beautiful, and it's making a lot of sense. And, you know, and I'm hearing like fun, and it's time to start to like, you know, just let that go, so, and make the process fun. So pretty cool. Let's, we're going to pull some tarot, and then we'll pull some more oracle cards in a little bit. So I hope everyone's doing well. I know it's been a while, and I was like, so true story, I had pulled like a whole reading, a lot of cards. It looked kind of beautiful, but something was just way off. And then every time I thought about like sharing this reading, I just couldn't do it. And I ended up eventually putting the cards away, and I don't remember the last time I've done that, if I've ever done that, where I've like ending up just putting all the cards back. And they did have some relevance for everything that's been going on for the past couple of weeks. I mean, we've been in this energy for a while of like needing to kind of, you know, really protect and nurture ourselves so that we can bring through this, you know, this new energies and our I am presence. But it just oh gosh, it just wasn't right. And there was just getting these messages to wait. And then all of a sudden today, it was like, okay, you can do a reading. So go figure. Oh boy. I dropped some cards. All right. So what do we have here? Who wants to come through? So I'm here. We're going to get an overall energy for the divine masculine here. just an overall energy for the divine masculine. Nice. Okay, Ace of Wands. So, and look at that. Yeah, it's totally like this pineal gland getting all lit up. And so beautiful. We've got 8 of Materials on the bottom. And with that, underneath is 2 of Swords, right? So it's speaking to the fact that I think that like the masculine energy, right, was in this like super work, like energy that where everything was very much in a lot of action. But because things were moving so fast, and because there wasn't that real space to get clear, there was like a lot of this confusion in the mind, right? Like not having this spiritual clarity to really know how to continue is what I'm hearing. Like how to continue. It's 12:21 as I say that. So like continue through this the essential portal of the solstice gateway. And this is what's being activated and cleared through this gateway is the clarity, is the understanding. And definitely by 12:21, the masculine is going to know without a shadow of a doubt what their truth is. And it has to also to do with this whale teaching energy and how they want to move forward with, I think, with their, I'm hearing with their ascension and with their work. But there's just a little bit of a stepping back. There's also, I think, this energy of like there was too many things going on, too many balls in the air, and like it just needed to sort of be let go. And you could see through this super calm stillness of going within, like everything becomes crystal clear. And this really makes me think too of like activating the pineal gland to the divine blueprint, and receiving the activations of the DNA so the higher gifts can come online as well, which also impact like how the divine masculine energy is stepping forward with this whale teaching. So this is like really, really beautiful. What else does the masculine need to know? What is the obstacles the masculine energy is facing at this time? Queen of Cups. Yeah, and then on the bottom we've got 4 of Emotions and the wheel reversed. So, yeah, the masculine's having difficulty getting like really fully in touch with their deepest feelings. And it's tied back to this whole 2 of Swords energy here, of being a bit like lost in the mind. And you could see like, there's this need for like deep surrender. Deep surrender. I do think it's happening here. I do. I feel like these energies are like tied. But I think that like it just feels like there's a little bit more struggle in terms of like blocking the offer that's being offered like emotionally, for emotional restoration, for emotional healing, that the masculine is struggling with. And I'm hearing there's a need to let go. Like the masculine energy really needs to let go. I love seeing here these sort of like streams that look like they're coming out of the hands. Like I was talking about how the hands are coming online more as well. So I feel like there's this like healing, this gentle, tender healing aspect that's kind of coming online in the masculine. And she's got like the crown as well, which like again like speaks to the activation of those upper chakras like I was talking about, like the soul star and the Shambhala star. really, I see that kind of coming online through the willingness to really allow all of the emotions to come forward. So, and that's really going to actually create a big shift in luck, in like turning things forward. And I think it's even going to impact, this aha moment, this like realization of like path and purpose, and like this like really beautiful new beginning. I feel like it's gonna happen though. Let's pull another card for how the masculine kind of works through that block. Oh gosh, that is a lot of cards. All right, are we gonna take them all? Okay, so we've got the Four of Voices. All right, which is Four of Swords. So rest. There's a need for deep, deep rest, like we already talked about. Two of Cups reversed, combined with the Emperor. I feel like there's a need to like set a really clear boundary around some sort of like past relationship here. It's like I'm here, I'm not hearing marching to the beat of your own drum, but it's like following the rhythm of your own song is what I'm hearing, which really speaks to that whole thing of like, don't try and fit in, right? That was that really strong message of don't try and fit in. And maybe there was like a trying to fit in around a sort of like romantic connection, or for like feeling like you needed to be a certain way, and like really realizing that actually what you need to do is like rest your way into like just truly becoming all of who you are from within that wants to step forward. And you can't really do that if you're still in this like attachment energy to a relationship from an old energy. We've got Four of Wands with Page of Wands reversed, and the Two of Materials, which is the Two of Pentacles. So, yeah, there's some sort of a completion and a celebration. And I'm hearing a letting go, there's a letting go, a real true completion. And again, like part of that completion is like going, results in having the space to really go within and like receive. And I love how, again, like we've got these like lights in the sky way above the head like that, really representing that, what I feel is like that Shambhala star gateway. And it's opening up to all of these warm, beautiful, I feel like these warm, beautiful, nurturing energies of like the sacral, and of the solar plexus. So like it's like taking back a healthier sense of power, and like being able to like bring in all these like new emotions that are clearing out any like of that old debris, right? There's something very, for the masculine, very emotional about this broader awakening that's happening, as opposed to mental, which is really cool. And something about that emotional process ignites the passion. So that's a bit different than maybe a more typically mental process for, like going about things. And so what do we got next here? All right. So with the Page of Wands reversed combined with this Two of Materials reverse, it's like I'm hearing I need to get out of the rut I'm stuck in. I'm hearing I need to get out of the rut I'm stuck in. And you could see upright, like this is very delicate balancing act of like a gem on a rose. on one foot. It's like how, it's the fantasy of like holding it all together, I think, is where things were. The fantasy that everything was all together when really it was always eventually gonna fall apart, um, because there was too much going on. Because the Two of Pentacles reverse is usually always speaking to there just being too much going on, and that being, I think a bit of a block to this new beginning, because this Page of Wands reverse is directly related to this Ace of Wands. Having them both show up in the masculine's reading is talking about like big, major new inspiration coming forward. A lot of change in passion, in drive, in direction. And I just feel like this reversal here is like, it's like there's just a bit of a delay on bringing ultimately, it all leads back to this like Ace of Wands, new passion, very connected to like the ignition of the pineal gland and all of these upper chakras. But the delay is because of what needs to be let go of, and healed with work and emotionally to get the clarity and the emotional healing. So there's a lot going on for the masculine right now, I feel, in general. A lot. So let's see what the, what's the advice for the masculine right now? What's the advice overall? Yeah, Seven of Wands. Definitely. And then we've got Temperance at the bottom. So, and this is sort of like the Hermit Seven of Wands, it's like definitely creating that space for yourself in that, higher vibration. Don't try and fit in with all these other wands down there that are kind of like, acting potentially, of a lower vibe. Don't feel like you have to fit in with anybody else. Trust your inner instinct. Trust your inner power. There's this light at the solar plexus. There's this need to like really trust and own your own power. And that comes back to that whole Emperor card, right? Of like building a really strong foundation of your power that's not based on anybody else's thoughts or opinions, which you can totally have the capacity to do, divine masculine, and owning it. And that's gonna, to allow this like the balance that to come through. And there's also a lot of angelic guidance and assistance, from Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and whoever else you connect with that wants to like really assist you with this, with coming into this balance of yin and yang and divine masculine and divine feminine. Yeah. And then, there'll be some sort of, ultimately in the end of all of this, I feel like it'll give you more clarity on whatever like new proposals or offers or exchanges or engagements like you want to move into with this Six of Pentacles at the bottom like that. So I love it. So, and what's coming towards the masculine? What's coming towards the masculine? Okay. The Chariot reversed. And Eight of Voices reversed on the bottom. So, freedom. Freedom from victimization. Freedom from the past, of like the misdeeds of others, of the traumas. There's a big reignition of this, of the power and the solar plexus, or the divine masculine, is happening here to really owning what really matters to you most, and being able to like, I'm hearing like, yeah, like drive with it, you know, like allowing your instinct to be your boss. Yeah, allowing your instinct to be your boss. Doesn't feel overly, I mean, the activations, you know, in the mind, right, especially to receiving the higher self, is gonna steer this. But that's always what's meant to steer the chariot, right? It's that connection to your higher self and allowing that through, you know, your heart and through your inner power to like lead you forward. And but when you're, you know, when you're feeling like completely blocked to receiving all of that energy, which is where you were, you know, not connected to your intuition or to really being able to, you know, knowing that there's like greater truths, but not really having that direct insight. And then as a result, feeling trapped and confused and stuck and doubting, you know, that's all being healed and let go. And yeah, the 10 of Wands underneath that, like I said, you're walking away from all those burdens. So like I was really feeling that 10 of Wands energy. You really, really like whatever was holding you back from moving on is being let go. And there might be a move here with both of those cards coming up with the Chariot too. But that might not be in the immediate future. But there might, for some of you, Divine Masculine, there might be a move. So that's beautiful. So what does the Divine Feminine need to know? Let's get into the Divine Feminine since we're already in an hour. Overall energy. Oh, yeah. Not surprised to see this pop out. 6 of Cups. Nostalgia. We've got King of Swords on the bottom. So yeah, so like there's going to be a lot of things coming up that are going to cause you to look back, and it's like, what do you do with it? The whole point of it, ultimately, of this process is to get more clarity, to be able to process, like I said, the old emotions that haven't been fully resolved, so that you can ultimately kind of let them go, let them fully like flow through your system, so that you can release all, you know, resentment about, you know, the past and things that didn't work out, or things you've been clinging or holding on to, or things that you've been attached to, et cetera, or that have attached to you. And when all of that gets let go, out of your whole 4-body system, there's going to be, throat clearing. There's going to be some throat chakra clearing, which is going to make it a little bit easier to speak your truth. And it's going to be easier to have that observer's perch perspective, and really get really clear on who you are, what you think, what you really think, and like what's really going on here in your life, and then within the context of like everything going on in the world. And that's very empowering, and it's gonna help you move out of this like 7 of Pentacles energy of like being stuck, and not really knowing exactly which way to go, which is great. So that's the overall energy for the feminine. What's the obstacle for the feminine? Oh boy, I keep dropping cards. Okay. All right, so we've got 2 of Pentacles upright. So this 2 of Pentacles here, upright, is got a bit of a different feel to it. I mean, she's a little more grounded. I think in this case, like, there might be a little bit of trouble for the feminine to just manage like everything that she's being asked to do right now in terms of like the various responsibilities On the bottom, what we've got is the Six of Swords reversed, which is about moving on. And then under that, we've got like the High Priestess reversed. So it's like there's this like, and I do, I feel this, like there's this one, like, there's one part, I think, of the feminine that's like really, really ready to just completely move, like let go of like everything that is her world and her life right now, and fully, step into like the depths of like her cosmic self, her priestess self, and all of her, higher abilities, right? And really move, like, move completely away from like the difficulties of the past, from where she's been. But because like it's like, oh, but the feminine is also trying to manage her everyday responsibilities and keep a lot of her life going the way it's been, right? In terms of like, family responsibilities and obligations, and it could be to do with like having home, having property, having family that you need to take care of. Any of those things. It's just like there's like the duality of like, it feels, getting pulled in two directions, right? And like how, like one is like very much the truth. It's like this whole very ethereal higher truth. And then one is like having to still deal with this very like 3D red, burden of like life that has not fully dissipated yet, because the collective energy is still very stuck, and you live amongst it. So that's what it really feels like. That's the big challenge for the feminine right now, is the duality of all of that. What's the solution for the feminine to deal with this challenge? What's the solution for the feminine to deal with this challenge? Hopefully I will keep my cards up this time. Oh, man. What's the solution for the feminine? Okay. Yeah, look at that. We've got the other 10 of Wands coming out. And tell you guys, did I not channel the 10 of Wands energy? Sorry. I watch this other reader who says things like that all the time. And so now I'm just like copying her. Like, did I not channel that? I did. Yeah. And then it came out with the Knight of Cups reversed. So, yeah. For sure. And then on the bottom, we've got the wheel, right? Which is beautiful to see. And then underneath that, yeah, the tower, right? So, like, the divine feminine in a lot of cases has been carrying like a lot of too much weight regarding like a divine masculine counterpart, and being maybe a little bit emotionally attached, or feeling emotionally responsible, and like just carrying a lot of like, there's been a lot of weight about feeling like needing to pursue. There was just so much like guidance around from the heart, but from God, to like pursue that connection, to pursue it, to keep giving to it. And it's like, at right now where things are at on the journey is that trajectory needs to kind of come to a close. The heavy burden of that is like needing to, it's kind of done. Like you walked 1,000 miles with all that weight on your back, to for a purpose, to help heal and free that divine masculine counterpart or energy in a lot of ways, from a lot of toxicity. But it's really like there's a need to really like let that go right now, to allow for the big shift, and to not feel like so overburdened. And that is going to bring in Yeah, because look, underneath that tower, we've got the Ten of Voices reversed there. So I feel that's the Ten of Swords reverse. And I feel like that's like, especially with this card, it's going to allow for like a real shattering of all that weight. Look at how free she is on top here. Just like, and an ascension. I think it's just like there's a letting go of that the attachment to what got you to this place with that other person, and a big huge turn to like, boom, like I'm ready, divine, to be like, have my Uranian lightning bolt and receive my ascension. Because it was, it's, and not to say those connections might not still be important in some way in your life, but they were also to serve a purpose to get you to ready to a certain place, to have this, your ascension and your reconnection with your higher self, and ultimately like how that comes back around into divine partnership. It will happen, magically in right timing, but not from a place of like holding on, or not necessarily how you thought it would or think it will work itself out. So there's kind of, there's a need to kind of, it's so interesting. She's got these dice. There's a need to do something maybe that feels a little bit like gambling, like playing the dice, and like take a little bit of a risk. And I feel like the divine feminine is really balanced here, in a really balanced place, to coming into like taking this risk and releasing herself and moving forward. And there's a lot of butterflies. There's a lot of butterflies on this Tower card. So it's very much speaking to that caterpillar to butterfly, ascension energy. So that's really just, focusing on that, realizing that that is your kind of goal right now. And I think I spoke about at the beginning, like the enlightenment being really, really important for the feminine, that sort of activation of the divine feminine Christ, and making that your primary focus. So what's coming towards the feminine? What's coming towards the feminine? The World reversed. Oh my God, look at that. And then the World upright on the bottom. And then we've got the Ace of Swords under that. How awesome. And then the Three of Swords reversed. So yeah, there is a very, very big completion. And look, we've got all the beautiful sacred geometries that I was talking about on the card. There's a very, very big completion to this entire ascension process that's coming to the feminine. And I feel like and I'm hearing you can have it all. You can have it all. So maybe there's like this a little bit, with the World card showing up twice, it's like the potential for, I do see that as like potential for total fulfillment in all areas. It's like double miracles. But there's this sort of Ace of Swords reverse. It's like and why this like World card showed up reverse is there is a bit of a need of like change in thinking, to like fully receive like everything, like I guess everything that wants to come through. I also feel like this is speaking to the anchoring of like all these universal energies, and these sacred geometries that connect you to like the world in a new way, to Gaia in a new way, to the universe in a new way. But again, it's like the only thing that's really holding you back is like, it's really just like old unprocessed emotion, right? With that Three of Swords reversed, which I think is getting let go of, and that's what's being healed. And and here we've got this owl reverse. Oh, this is important. There's a reading actually that San Tarot just did where she talks about this owl energy. And I will post a link so you guys can check that reading out. And because it's very, very, it's a collective energy reading. It's for all signs, and it's very important for what's going on right now. But she talks about how the owl has sort of been blocking the extent to what is available to us, right? And this is exactly what I'm seeing here, right? Universe, passport to the universe, I think, is underlying what is available to us. But unless we can sort of rectify being able to open the mind greater to the rainbow light that wants to come through, and to the highest echelons of this owl energy of the highest observer's perch, from, again, the more you can release the old emotions, the more you can become a clear channel and be completely emotionally fluid and clear, the more you can release any resentment, and the more you can see clearly. And this is a lesson, that Spirit has been teaching me for a long time. And because it's a big one. It's a really big one. And most of us, I think, at some point or another struggle with this. But it's really key. It's key to really resolve, going through a resolution of this, to kind of bring this whole energy through, because this is very exciting for the feminine. I love seeing this. I think there's a lot of beautiful things coming there. So let's pull some cards for the combined energy. Let's pull an overall energy for unions, people that are in unions or coming into unions. Oh, look at this. Gorgeous. We've got the Star reversed with the Knight of Cups, with the Seven of Cups, and the Three of Swords reversed. So really good to see that card reversed, because again, it's just a double confirmation that things are being healed, right? With the Star reversed, the Star is all about healing. It's kind of what I feel here is I feel like this process is going to be completing and coming to a close. I don't really love seeing this Seven of Cups combined with this Knight of Cups, because I feel like there is, what we've got here on the bottom is Temperance, right? Which is, again, that coming into that balance and that healing. But Seven of Cups doesn't speak to balance to me. It speaks to being, it's a little bit of wanting to have it all. Instead of picking that one juicy, object, the one juicy object, the one juicy path, geometry, partner, counterpart that that becomes, I'm hearing home, that place of home. And I feel like this Temperance energy here is kind of coming into clarity and having an epiphany and a realization about the need for that, the need and the peace that comes from letting go of of always thinking about options, about really, truly, again, coming back to this whole thing about this Three of Swords reversed. One thing I'll say about the Star card is it's also about getting really clear on what you wish for, right? But with the reversed, it's like, and with the Seven of Cups energy, I feel like there's like still a little bit of blockage from this old, heartbreak and heartache, whether it's, inner child healing. I think a lot of it is inner child healing, but also from past hurts, from past lovers. And it's also the hurt. I'm hearing it's also from like the hurt, ancestral hurt of your past on loved ones. It just like it needs to be cleared out of your cells and out of your DNA. That's also like, yeah, that's going to contribute to the next level of your awakening and having this clarity on like what it is you truly want and being able to like make an offer, a clear love offer, and move forward with it. But with the Temperance card on the bottom and the Three of Pentacles below that, I feel really confident that this is a good time overall, from like what's happening with the feminine and the masculine, to like really bring things into balance so that there can be like a new level of communication, collaboration, like a really positive new tangible step forward or new beginning, with that Three of Pentacles there below that. It's like really, really good. And with the Five of Materials or Five Pentacles below that, it's like really leaving that whole abandonment energy behind for good. Got Nine of Cups, like with, bringing in like, oh, look, Nine of Cups twice, both two, double. So again, the whole thing about when one's upright, one's reversed. There's a potential for like a double wish fulfillment here. It's like, and it's also like within and without. And seeing like this unicorn energy, which speaks to about like multidimensional travel and connection. And I think that's what, part of this is like really speaking to, right? Like part of this is the success, that you're going to see tangibly in the physical, right? Like, and part of it is about like that inner success, right? That, and that process of that inner enlightenment through this like transformation of your heart, rather than just, the gifts of like that are being bestowed on you, whether it be like material abundance or the relationship or the new, job opportunity or the expansion of your career, any and all of those things I really see here. I feel like the inner awakening, that I think that aspect of like union, it could be, the outer aspect could be potentially easier to achieve in some ways. But this, again, with that Ace of Swords reversed with that owl energy, and some of the challenges I saw along the way, especially for the masculine with like the emotions, is inner ascension to like this, fully, activating these geometries. I feel like it might be a little bit easier right now for the feminine for where she's at than for the masculine. But it's coming online. But it's I'm hearing like Atlantis and Mu, and like it's really about moving forward into like these deeper galactic expansions, and deepening of heritage. So, and spiritual heritage. And on the bottom, I think we already looked on the bottom. Yeah, we looked at all the ones on the bottom. So, and look at that. 10 of Cups. Beautiful. So, and Ace of Cups. So, I feel like these are, cards speaking to potential outcomes, potential resolutions, what's coming towards these union energies, which is like a lot of fulfillment, a very, very positive new emotional beginning. Ten of Cups is such a beautiful card for, like warm family relationships. Having done the sort of healing that's required to like really have that emotional vulnerability and sensitivity and really coming together. So, and again, it's like just bringing me back to like the whole masculine reading. A lot of it was like really healing emotions. And then what I see here is like that this outcome of like this whole really happy emotional fulfillment and new beginning for unions is really going to be impacted by the work that the masculine is doing on themselves right now and their emotional healing. And there's like a child figure on, and there's a child figure on the screen as I said that. So I think that really confirms my intuition that there is still like a connection to deeper inner child healing that's related to that process for the masculine. And this also speaks again to like the masculine energy for the feminine as well. But it's a really powerful process to move through like the portal, the January 1st portal into 2021. January 1st is always like a really, really powerful portal. And it's also going to be another one of those 0 to 1 days, which are all powerful gateways into, but I'm hearing like into like the new era, right? It's just like really, and I'm also hearing like a new area of like emotional lightness. So it's really, really beautiful. Let's pull a few more oracle cards. We'll pull an Archangel Gabriel. See if there's anything that wants to be clarified. All right. So we've got express your inner truth. And it says here, your creative work shines brightest when it reflects your genuine feelings and thoughts. Yeah, so especially for like the divine masculine energy, this is so true. Like that whole new creative energy that wants to be born is all based on like really becoming clear on like your true feelings and being confident in sharing who you really are without fear and doubt. And detox time. We've got release toxins from your body, mind, and diet, which just confirms, the messages that I was sharing at the beginning about like really cleaning up your act with your health, and again, like clearing out any, it's more than just toxins. Cleaning out anything from the past that's you feel you've got in your emotions, in your mind, in your environment that's holding you back. But really, really do focus on health. I do think you can actually make, if you want to do celery juice, because it's very, very healing for the body. It really brings your body a lot of like alkalinity that is really balancing. Again, really important for coming into that like temperance energy, because a lot of us are exposed to, a lot of foods that tend to like lead towards being a little bit acidic. And, one of the, part of how you can deal with that is drinking alkaline water. I have a machine for alkaline water. And if you want to learn more about that, I can talk to you about that, because that's like one of the key things you can do. But another thing you could do is the celery juice. So, I'm not going to get into deep details about that right now, but I think that that aspect of alkalinity to come into balance is probably one of the most important things about this detox. But it's also about like making sure that you're taking like your vitamins, and not eating, like not putting like too many things like sugars or like heavy salts in your body, to just allow yourself to have like a cleanse out. And it doesn't mean you should like overly like deprive yourself or anything. You have to do what feels right to your body. But it's about realizing that your body in order to really be able to go through all the changes that are being asked of you right now, that you need to give yourself a little bit of extra care, because it's these processes do put a lot of stress and strain on the physical body. And part of why people often complain a lot of the time about ascension systems is just because they're not used to having to give like so much extra care in order to like balance out. So detox. And on the bottom we have confidence in your creations, trust in the power of God's creativity, which is being manifested through you. Amen. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And then look, open your heart to love. The more you open your heart and pour love into your creations, the greater their life force energy. So I feel like that's like speaks so much to that like beautiful Ace of Cups resolution energy, and like really, like I said, and that 10 of Cups being so, you know, becoming like really emotionally clear so that you can be have that sort of like that new clear vision, passion, so you can be confident, but also then also be like really vulnerable in your relationships as well. So there's a lot going on, a lot of shifting, a lot of refinement. I am really sorry if you can hear that background noise. I'm so sorry. Can you hear that? Oh my gosh. But right, one more. We need magical dimension cards. I feel like that's already kind of complete, but I really wanted to pull you guys one of these magical dimensions cards. So let's just do it. All right. So we've got awakening here, ancient knowledge, memories, connection. Yep, that very much speaks to like what I had coming through. For the feminine, in terms of like having all of this like memory coming online. It's definitely going to start becoming more clear, which is really exciting, because there's been a lot of, I hate to say it, there's been a lot of energies the past few years, a lot of dark energies, a lot of just reinforcements of like implants energies of like unworthiness and devil energies, like to stop you at a subconscious level from being able to really open up your chakras to like really heal and like receive this wisdom. So I think it's finally coming through, and it's important to like focus on it and be clear, because and block out anything that might want to stop you from like really receiving this more powerful level of awakening. And the other card here is exploration, boldness, unknown, and limitless. So that is like absolutely gorgeous. It really speaks again. These cards really speak to the feminine energy, don't they? With that double world card. And just like, and it also speaks to that overall energy of like the multidimensional energy, right? And how like with that whale energy, you can really explore the depths of like the Akashic records and like all that, you know, all that has been and all that we know. And then, you know, limitless, unknown, like there's so much expansion that is becoming available that's been so blocked. And it's time to really put your focus here. Put your focus on saying, I am empowered. I am finishing up my healing, and nothing is going to stop me from remembering and from expanding into all that is, you know, available and known. And nothing is going to stop me from, you know, remembering past lives in early Atlantis and then Lemuria, where I had a deeper connection to all of life and all of the universe. Nothing is going to stop that. And it's true, nothing is going to stop it. And yeah, look on the bottom here, breakthrough, leap of faith, freedom, new beginnings. And again, that speaks very much to that Ace of Cups energy, and the Ace of Wands, right? And even that Ace of Swords, even though it was reversed, right? We got 3 aces. So it's super, super positive. The breakthrough that, you know, we've been waiting for is coming. I anticipate it's going to be here within the next few weeks. and that, like I said, by the I think there's still going to be some like final kind of ahas and clearing here around the solstice, the 1221, and but you know, I really see that new cup, that new, like I said, that really new beginning, you know, at the very beginning of 2021. So here we go. It's very exciting, and I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you so much for being here for this, what has actually turned out to be quite a robust extended reading. Please do share in the comments, you know, what you feel about the reading. I feel like, honestly, even though it's been long, it still feels like probably so much was honestly left out. And I always, it's, you know, it's 111 as I say that. Because there's just so much, right? Like there's just so much, and I could only, you know, say so much of it in a reading. And honestly, the only way to fully kind of expand into like the hugeness of what's available is, you know, is actually your journey, you know, you taking the time for you going within, you know, you blocking out all of the, any sort of, you know, media or people or programs or habits that are keeping you in that box, right? So that you can, you know, truly open to something much broader and exciting and new and different. And trusting, you know, trusting fully in that process. So, and getting clear enough internally, right? And emotionally and physically that you're not still getting stuck in those old cycles that prevent you from broadening your horizons. So I think that's pretty clear. I'm here to support you in this. I still honestly don't think this is going to be the easiest time through this eclipse, but I do see a big shift in energies that are very positive on the horizon. And it's important to, you know, to be aware of that, to be really excited about what's available to you and what's becoming available to you, and to really focus on that and stepping into the new with confidence, knowing that like we are here for each other, that we are not alone, and that we can, you know, have this breakthrough, and it's your birthright and it's destined, and nothing's going to stop you. All right. I love you, and take care, everybody. Namaste.